Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Taylor Pomaski case. You see, Taylor, she was reported missing on May 9th of 2021 after no one had heard from her. And so we're going to dive into who is Taylor Pomaski. We're going to talk a little about her. We're going to talk about who Kevin Ware Jr. is, her ex-NFL boyfriend, and we're gonna dive into what has happened since. Taylor Christine Pomaski, she was a resident of Texas in the United States. She is the daughter of Stephen Pomaski and Leslie Mandeville, and she is their oldest child. She had 4 younger siblings, and her family lives in Katy, Texas. She was the girlfriend of retired NFL player Kevin Ware, and he was 11 years older than her. She was 5 feet 2 inches and weighed about 110 pounds. He is 6 feet 3 inches and weighs about 259 pounds. She did a lot of great things in her life. From September 2011 to December 2012, she was a case investigator at the Marker Group in Houston. In 2015, she earned her CompTIA A+ certification at Lone Star College Kingwood in Houston. Now, this is a big deal, for anyone who's looking to become certified in this field. This field is listed as one of the highest paying IT certifications in the US, with A+ holders earning about almost $80,000 a year. This was a big accomplishment for her. She had a dog named Molly. In January of 2017, she started volunteering at Citizens for Animal Protection. In 2018, she received her license as a loan officer, where she was working at Leisure Getaways Verification as a loan officer. In 2019, she moved into a new apartment. She and Ware were living together in Spring, Houston, Harris County, Texas. Aside from living in Katy and Houston, she did live in other parts of Texas, including Kingwood and Sugar Land. In 2020, according to her mother, she struggled with addiction, an issue she never admitted to. In November of 2020, her mother spoke with Kevin Ware Jr. for the very first time. Before dating Ware, she dated Eric Zuliger for 6 years. On April 5th of 2021, Zuliger dropped her off at the home she shared with Ware in Spring, Texas. She told Eric that she had been hit by Kevin Ware. On April 17th of 2021, she sent an email to Eric Zuliger telling him she was ready for help. He planned to help her get into rehab. On April 25th of 2021, she had a violent fight with Ware during a party at their home, and this is according to witnesses. That was the last day she was seen. She was 29 years old when her mom filed a missing persons report on May 9th of 2021 after not hearing from her. On May 11th, 2021, her mother went to authorities again about her disappearance. On May 13th, 2021, Kevin Ware Jr., he texted her mom saying he was doing all he could and that he was looking for her. On December 10th, 2021, the Harris County Sheriff's Office announced that investigators looking for her found human remains in Texas. Over almost 5 months later, the remains were identified as Taylor Christine Pomaski. Rest in peace, Taylor. And so that's what we know up to this far. So Texas officials, they have identified the remains of Taylor, who is the missing girlfriend of ex-NFL player Kevin Ware Jr. The Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences, they made the official determination that it was Taylor's body they found. And this investigation is still open and active, and homicide investigators are diligent on bringing this case to a close. This is according to a senior deputy. Now, an official cause of death has yet to be revealed, and toxicology results are still pending. Now, when her family had reported her missing, they reportedly told authorities that they believed she was possibly in danger. She was last seen on April 25th 2021 while at a party at her home on Stallion Brooks Lane in Spring, Texas. And investigators do believe that she is a victim of foul play. They've shared that from the very beginning. Now, on a completely separate incident, in April of 2021, Ware was arrested and charged with 2 counts of possession with intent to deliver a controlled substance and unlawful possession of a firearm as a felon. The former San Francisco 49ers tight end, he was released on $23,000 bond on April 20th of 2021, 5 days before Taylor disappeared. Earlier the year, he was arrested a second time on June 11th, 2021 for failing to appear in court and check in with the probation officer. And a judge ordered Kevin Ware Jr. to be held without bail later that month. A few months later in December, her remains were then uncovered as investigators and Texas EcuSearch combed through an unidentified site in North Harris County. In 2021, when they couldn't find her and they didn't know what had happened to her, Kevin Ware Jr. was identified as a suspect of the disappearance of Pomaski, which is another reason why his bail was revoked and he had to stay in there, because they did believe he was alleged to have done something with her or know why she had disappeared. But this was during that filing of having his bond revoked. That was like the first time that and up to then, no one had really named him a suspect until they were trying to get his bail revoked. And prosecutors that were requesting his bail be revoked said the defendant is suspected of murdering his girlfriend, Taylor Pomaski. And this was the first time anyone had heard that. And so it looks like it might have worked because they did revoke his bail. If you have any information about this case of Taylor Pomaski, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers 713-222-TIPS. That's 713-222-TIPS. It seems like since that bail revoking hearing, they've kind of just made it, he's just a person of interest in this case. So he has not been charged with any criminal act against Taylor. He is just linked to the disappearance of her missing. Now, at the time, her disappearance was called suspicious, as I mentioned earlier, and investigators definitely believe some foul play was involved. One deputy, Marshal Alfredo Perez, said apparently a lot of people were very scared of this guy. He says, I don't know if they were scared of him because they heard the girlfriend was missing. And Kevin Ware Jr., he lives in Spring, Texas, and he played for the Washington football team in 2003 and the San Francisco 49ers in 2004, and he was arrested twice last spring on drug charges. He has not been charged in connection with Pomaski's disappearance and death. There you have it, my friends. That is the update around Taylor Pomaski. We need justice for Taylor. Whoever did this to her needs to pay. I will never understand how someone can violently do this to somebody else and even live with yourself. I mean, I understand as humans, we're sinners, we mess up, we do things that we're not supposed to do, but my gosh, can you get deeper? Any worse than this? I don't know, this is terrible. My friends, thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to serving you again.